Pandora's box is actually a massive logic trap. It took the blame that Zeus should have carried, and in a totally unreasonable and brutal way, shifted it onto our mortals. Because Prometheus stole fire, Zeus decided and won humanity, and Pandora, a created thing that looked almost exactly like human, was his method of punishment. The box Zeus gave to Pandora was opened by this creature who looked like us but wasn't one of us. Yet in the end, mortals had to suffer all the consequences. In this story, Zeus is a god, Prometheus is a god, Pandora is a work of art made by gods. Light and death are punishments from gods. So where do mentals fit in, whether in the eternal golden age or the era after Pandora opened the box? Humans just play the role of sacrificial lambs. If there's a light, a birth in it. If there's a death, I have no choice but to accept it. In the power games of these deities, mortals are just Lego bricks. Our joy and sorrow are never part of their plan. But even though mortals are already this humble, the gods still want to educate us. For thousands of years, we've been taught two lessons from this story. First, control our excessive curiosity. Second, no matter how hopeless it gets, always keep hope alive. Sounds pretty educational at first, right? But if you think about it, it's actually a huge gaslighting. In the story, after Pandora was born, he was only given 3 gifts. Aphrodite gave her beauty, Hermes gave her wit and persuasion, Athena gave her craftsmanship, but nobody ever told us where her curiosity came from. In fact, as a divine creation made for a single purpose, Pandora was born solely to open the box. This was a cruel code Zeus programmed into her, and that beauty, wit, and skills were just paperwork to ensure she should successfully marry Prometheus' brother. Once she gained the identity of a mortal, the crime of opening the box could easily be shifted onto humanity. Just because Pandora looked like a human, humans had to bear the burden of her mistake. This is typical gangster logic, which has quietly taken root in our minds in a very hidden way. This story isn't a fable about humanity at all. It is a carefully designed frame-up and the prison of mortals. Next, let's look at this through a Chinese lens. For these 3 dimensions, the power set up, the economics of hope, and invisible tyranny to completely deconstruct this 1,000-year-old lie. First, let's turn our eyes to the East. We all know the story of Journey to the West, but before the Monkey King started his journey, he was briefly recruited by Heaven as a local warlord. Heaven's goal seemed simple: give the Monkey King a meaningless job, so he wouldn't rebel and claim to be a king, and to save Heaven's face. In fact, the Monkey King happily accepted this. It seemed everything was going in the right direction, but was that really the case? Heaven ordered the Monkey King to get the Garden of Immortal Peaches. Inside grew 3 types of peaches with different ripening times and different effects after eating them. Type 1 ripens every 3,000 years. Eat it, make you an immortal. Type 2 ripens every 6,000 years. Eat it, grant nearly eternal youth. Type 3 is the best fruit. Ripens every 9,000 years. Eating it makes you as old as the universe, practically indestructible. Do you see something strange here? This is not as simple as it looks. First, why should Heaven send a monkey to get a peach garden? Second, these seemingly ordinary peaches can grant power equal to the universe. That is a level that most gods could never reach in a lifetime of cultivation. This wasn't a management mistake. This is the darkest philosophy of rule. As soon as the monkey took the first bite, as soon as Pandora's finger touched the lock of the box, the loop of power was complete. The programmed criminal in the main story, Pandora messed up because of curiosity. But if we look back to Hesiod's original texts, works, and days, we found that when Zeus ordered the creation, he specifically ordered Hermes to give her a shameless mind and a deceitful nature, and planted a curiosity she couldn't resist. This means Pandora opening the box wasn't a random chance. It was an inevitable event. The only reason she was created was to open the box. Blaming Pandora for opening the box is as ridiculous as blaming a monkey for eating peaches off the tree. Zeus knew she would open it, yet he hypocritically wanted her absolutely do not open it. Pandora becomes the perfect scapegoat. Why didn't Zeus just rain disaster down on Earth himself? Because then he would be a tyrant, and it would trigger a direct rebellion against the gods. But through Pandora, this killing Kakin, acting as a middleman, he successfully shifted the blame. When disaster struck, humans didn't hate gods, they hated this stupid woman. In Pandora's story, Pandora kept hope inside the box. This was humanity's last hope. By looking at it the other way, didn't Pandora actually lock hope inside the box forever? This is also the carefully designed part of the plan. Where burning disaster to mentals, they kept a false hope alive. Where mentals have to endure disaster as long as they think about the possible hope in the box. They forget they have the power to resist and simply endure the suffering better. Rule number 1 of ruling: never create disaster with your own hands. Create an agent and let them open the gates of hell for you. And inside that hell, there must be a light you could see but could not touch. Mortals will look at it entirely and forget the darkness they are in. Why did Zeus leave hope at the bottom of the box? Why is there a legion of peaches that make you as old as the universe? This is the darkest and most blind part of their control logic. The monopoly on scarce resources and mind control. Suffering is the soil of rule. Humans didn't need gods in the Golden Age, because there was no scarcity, no pain. Only when Pandora opened the box, releasing plague, aging, and death, did humans have a need of help. Disaster created the domain of divine power. Zeus created the sickness and monopolized the cure. And hope is the most vicious and cynic. Nietzsche once pointed this out sharply. Hope is the worst of all evils, for it prolongs the torment of man. If there was no hope in the box, facing total disaster, humans might fight to the death, rebel against the gods, or just end it all. But with hope, humans develop an illusion. If I just hang there, tomorrow will be better. This is a carefully designed sunk cost trap. For that tiny glimmer of hope, humans willingly endure the exploitation of today. It's just like the problems we face in our jobs. Higher positions and better pay are like a gem hidden in the box. It feels like once we hold it, we are safe. We work desperately hard and finally get approval from the keeper of the box. And then we get a meaningless rock. A 50% salary raise and 200% increase in workload, and basically their freedom. Just like the Monkey King's peaches, even tells gods, eat the 9,000-year peach, and you live as long as the universe. So the gods willingly keep their heads down in the system, grinding for seniority and merit. But once the gods finally wait long enough to earn a chance to eat that 9,000-year peach, what they actually earned is a chance to accept heaven's rules. If a god truly ate one and become eternal, would they still need to listen to the Emperor of Heaven? Power is based on being needed. If the gods become truly independent, the Emperor's rule would collapse. So Heaven needed a dirty hand to help them destroy all the 9,000-year peaches. Then they could put out a helpless face and push all the blame out to the Monkey King. But there's another logic trap. The Monkey King ate the 9,000 years peaches. Shouldn't he become as eternal as the universe? But it didn't happen. So we could boldly conclude the peaches in the garden only differed in size, not in function. The 3,000 and 6,000 year peaches are tools to extend the gods' lives and maintain heaven's rule. But the 9,000 year peaches, that's just a scream to increase the sunk cost of the gods. What heaven did was shift the conflict onto an external factor, the monkey, to cover up the fact that the peaches don't actually work. In the end, the heaven could quickly tell the gods, it's not that I won't give you eternal life. It's that monkey who ruined the treasure. You will just to keep working for heaven and wait for the next batch. After all, eating 10 6,000 year peaches or 1 9,000 year peach look about the same, doesn't it? So we get a cool formula. False hope plus real pain plus unbearable sack cost equals absolute obedience and price. The victim don't dare to resist. Instead, they thank the ruler for the little light, giving in despair. This is the essence of the aesthetics of suffering. It is the highest level of gaslighting, and it is the invisible tyranny. When its rune technique runs perfectly, it creates the cage with no visible bears. I am doing this for you on good. The scariest face of the ruler is not a hideous demon, but a lovely father figure, Zeus sent to Pandora ostensibly as a gift to comfort loneliness. Heaven recruited the Monkey King, ostensibly because his valued talent. This warm, tender will makes resistance look ungrateful. When you ask why the box is locked, when you ask why you didn't get the peach, a voice will always say, God gave you a gift. You ruined it with your own greed, curiosity, and rule-breaking. This gangster logic successfully turns systemic oppression into a personal mental debate. Once this system is running, the ruler can sleep soundly because the people at the bottom will start tearing each other apart. In Pandora's story, the conflict was successfully shifted from conflict between humans and gods to a gender war between man and woman. People keep attacking Pandora as if the beauty of this woman who just arrived on Earth is the source of all disasters. In the Peach Garden story, from a dispassion conflict between gods and heaven, it turned into a conflict between the gods and the monkey. As if this monkey who willingly joined heaven is the main culprit preventing the gods from attaining enlightenment, where people are busy blaming Pandora's curiosity and hating the Monkey King's greed. Nobody looks up to say, who made the box that had to be opened? Who put the monkey in the garden? Who monopolized the fire and resources that belonged to the world? The bottom class will tear each other apart for 3,000 year peach. A middle class will send almost everything they have for 9,000 year peach. But when someone like that rushes into the garden and eats a 9,000 year peach, people didn't think about copying him, they think about blaming him. I could have got it by kneeling. Why should I have to fight for it? So everyone who fights and risks angering the king becomes their enemy, even if what they are fighting for is something that should have been theirs all along. We can't see who the real enemy is, because we are too busy hurting the people like us, right next to us, who are just as manipulated and exploited. This is actually what the rules want to say. The bottom fighting the bottom keeps the top safe. For thousands of years, we have been the obedient Epimetheus, living carefully inside these desired rules, thanking God for suffering given to us, and that vague, misty hope. But there are always moments, there are always some people who realize how ridiculous this game is. Maybe they walked alone with their own heads down for a long time. Maybe they drink bottle after bottle of the placebo called hope. Finally, when they stop praying to the box, stop begging gods out of fear of disaster, and stop enduring slavery for that fake hope, only then can they shatter the Pandora illusion and found a self that is truly free.